Hi everyone, Heather here with PersephoneReturns.com, and today I am recording this video from beautiful Taos, New Mexico. And I'm actually recording from our campsite. We got here last night and we've been camping at this beautiful site. There's this beautiful natural spring behind us, and I thought this would be a really nice place to shoot a video. And so yeah, this is the first time I'm doing this sort of on location somewhere outside of my home, so please forgive me if the camera angles or the sound is weird. I'm going to do my best to adjust for that later on down the line. But I did want to make sure that I got this forecast out to you guys because there's a lot going on this week. And this is my dog Stella. You'll see her walking in and out of the shot because she's just being a happy dog. And so yeah, so this week there is kind of a lot going on. It's actually a really nice, really powerful week in a very positive way. And so this week we have a lot of Neptune action, a lot of water sign action. We have a grand trine in water again, similar to the one that we had forming just 2 weeks ago between Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune. This time it's going to be with Mercury, Jupiter, and Neptune. And it's not going to be quite as close because Neptune and Jupiter are starting to move farther apart from one another. And so whereas before we were just coming off of that super tight trine between Jupiter and Neptune, this time around we have a little bit of a different sort of situation going on because Neptune is stationing to go retrograde on Monday, June 18th. And then the very next day we're going to have Mercury in this beautiful trine with Jupiter. This is going to make everybody feel much more optimistic, much more uplifted. This is a beautiful, more optimistic vantage point and mindset. People are going to be a lot more expansive with their ideas, with their plans. This is a really great time to plan for the future and also to reflect back on what has happened so far this year. This is sort of the culmination point of the solar year because we're also coming into the solstice, right? We're coming into the summer solstice, and that's coming on Thursday. And so this is a time of culmination of all of the things and projects and ideas and wishes and hopes that we seeded around the time of the winter solstice, so around the holidays, around Christmas time. And so we're seeing the fruits of those efforts, the fruits of those labors, but we're also seeing where things didn't quite work and maybe we need to tweak it, right? Maybe we need to surrender and let go. And that way moving forward, we don't have to worry so much about the projects that maybe weren't meant to be, or maybe the timing wasn't right, maybe it didn't work out for one reason or another. And so this is a really important time for sort of letting go and releasing what doesn't serve us moving forward, while also celebrating how far we've come. And so that's really important as well. So we're going to be in the right mindset for that because we're going to have this very expansive, optimistic mindset. We're all going to be looking to the future. We're going to feel very good about the plans that we're making. And if you don't feel that way, this is a time when you can culminate those sorts of feelings, right? And this is a really great time for adventure and for sharing your feelings more openly with other people because Jupiter is in Scorpio, Mercury is in the sign of Cancer. People are more apt to use language around feeling the way that things feel, emotionally right now, as opposed to thinking words or tactile descriptions of things, right? We're talking about our feelings more. People are going to open up. They're going to share themselves a little bit more with other people. On the same token, people might be a little bit moodier with that influence. Just in general, it's like, a 2.5 week influence, but with Jupiter involved, that's actually going to take the moodiness out of the Cancerian influence on Mercury. And then as we come into later on this week, we actually have this really beautiful trine forming. Actually, the very next day, Mercury, because Mercury moves so quickly, will come into a trine with Neptune, which just stationed and is officially retrograde. When Neptune is retrograde and when Neptune stations to go retrograde, that time's usually most significant for people who are Pisces rising, because you are going to be ruled by Neptune. So this is going to influence you more so than it will other people. And so for those who have that Pisces influence, especially because this is actually stationing in Pisces, this is going to be, these are going to be the people that feel it the most. And when Neptune stations, it's sort of this eerie energy. It feels almost a little ominous. It's like something's going on behind the scenes and you're not quite sure what it is. This is the time when signs, synchronicities, other dimensional energies can come in a lot more easily because Neptune is so strong in the skies. And so paying attention to what's going on beyond this realm, beyond the scenes, beyond just the normal physical awareness, beyond just sort of our mental trying to analyze everything, because right now, even with Mercury being so strong in this grand trine, it's all in water, right? This isn't about what we think. This isn't about us deciding things and rationalizing things. This is about us feeling it out, right? Following our emotions, following our intuition, being more creative with our projects and our plans and our communications with other people. And so that's a lot of the energy this week. We will actually have Venus in an opposition to Mars on Thursday, and that is the same day as the summer solstice. Also, happy birthday to all of my Cancer viewers, because the summer solstice is the exact time that the sun moves into the sign of Cancer. And so we're coming into Cancer season. Oh, Stella's barking a little bit. And so we're coming into Cancer season. And so this is a time when, in general, our emotions are going to be more highlighted than they normally are. The way that we feel about things, our home, our family, our connection to our roots, right? This is a time when there are a lot more family gatherings. We have in America 4th of July, so there are barbecues, people getting together. This is also a time to connect with people that feel like family, where we feel very comfortable and very at home with the people that we surround ourselves with. And so, you know, that's what's going on with Cancer, or with the sun moving into Cancer. And then Venus is going to come into an opposition with Mars. This is a very passionate sort of energy for relationships. This is a time when arguments and disputes could be a little bit more likely because we're feeling so passionately about everything. But this is also a time when we can become more passionate and more fired up about our relationships. And so this deepens our relationships, this enhances our passion. If you're in a relationship where things are getting dull or stagnant, this is a time when you can start something new, when you can revive and revitalize that passion. And so, and that's the case for all relationships. It doesn't have to be romantic relationships. If you're in, if you're in a business partnership and things are not quite working so well, maybe there's a little dispute or a little bit of fire that sort of shakes things up and puts you back on that path and makes you excited about that collaboration or connection again, right? And so that's kind of what's going on there. As we get to the end of the week, our communications are going to get a little bit more intense, because Mercury, as it comes off of this grand trine, it's going to oppose Pluto. And so this is us going beneath the surface, looking behind the veil, behind the scenes, going a little bit deeper. This is about research. This is about getting to the core issue that is sort of driving us and causing us to think a certain way. This is a time when we could have an emotional catharsis. This is when stuff that's been buried beneath the surface is going to be communicated much more openly, and especially when it comes to buried emotions, right? Things that we've been harboring and holding on to. When we talk about the sign of Cancer, it's deeply retentive. Cancer does not let go of something, especially if there's an emotional connection to it. And so Cancers are the people that are going to remember that thing that you said, forever ago that rubbed them the wrong way, right? And so this is the time when things that have been buried and that maybe didn't come out when they should have come out are going to be coming up to the surface, and people might be expressing themselves a lot more freely at the end of this week. And this is also a time to become empowered through our speech, right? So it can feel very liberating, it can feel like a catharsis, and we can feel empowered through sharing our feelings. Like maybe we were afraid to tell someone how we felt about something, and then we do it and we're like, wow, that wasn't so scary after all, right? And so this could actually be a very positive energy. I happen to like Pluto energy, especially when it's not a square. Conjunctions can be a little tricky too, but oppositions not so bad. Trines, I love Pluto trines, and so Pluto energy can be good if you know how to use it. And so use this to be direct with people, right? This isn't about beating around the bush. This isn't about indirect communication. This is about speaking the truth, right? When we talk about Pluto, we're talking about the truth, the core truth that lies beneath the surface of everything. And so that's what's going on this week in terms of the transits sort of overall in general. And so I'm going to get into the forecast now for all 12 signs. All right, and I always have my little dry erase board with my badly drawn aspect chart going on here. And so same thing going on today, except now you can see it. All right, and so for Aries and for Aries rising, and so what I'm going to be focusing on for this specific forecast, just to keep it brief and concise, I am like in the middle of a campsite right now and on vacation, and there's, the biggest energy is going to be this grand trine, and so that's what I'm going to be focusing on for this forecast for this week. And I'll talk a little bit about that opposition going on at the end of the week, because I think the Mercury action is going to be the most significant. And so for Aries and for Aries rising, the grand trine in water, again, is happening for you in the water houses. And so this is a time when your creativity is enhanced, your ability to connect more on a deeper, more emotional level with the people around you. This is a time when you're looking at the things that are going on beneath the surface this week, and those things can come up very easily for you to resolve, to let go of. If there's some sort of conversation or communication involving your family is going to be the focal point of this week. Your home, your roots, your property, because you do actually have the sun moving into the sign of Cancer. And so you also have Mercury in the sign of Cancer in the 4th house. And so this is a time when important communications can come up with family members, and they can help to resolve deep-seated issues, buried traumas, emotions, power struggles that maybe weren't being addressed. These types of things can come up to be resolved and healed this week. And so this is also a really important time while Neptune is stationing to pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your intuition, sign synchronicities, things that are coming from the outside that seem more ethereal, more ominous, more unexplained, right, that they're not connected to reality. These sorts of images and impressions, like psychic impressions, are going to be much more prominent and much more important this week to guide you in the right direction, to guide you toward healing, deep healing, right? That's the 8th house that's involved as well. That's a process of deep healing from the inside out, and a process of empowerment through healing from the inside out. And so you can be guided, in the right direction. You can be guided towards certain communications with family members to resolve issues that need to be resolved. And for Taurus rising, a lot of this energy is happening in your communication houses, and so this is going to be a really good week to connect with friends, to connect with, any sort of close partnerships. Romantic partnerships are going to be enhanced this week. Communication for work, communication with friends, communication with siblings, neighbors, sharing ideas, right? Sharing ideas, especially when they're creative ideas or they're ideas that are connected to certain emotions and things of that nature. That's going to be enhanced this week. There could also be issues that come up with friends, social networks, groups, where you feel like you're kind of at a standstill with a group of people. And as we get into the week, like later on this week, you'll be able to address that a little bit more easily and start moving things forward again. For Gemini and for Gemini rising, this is happening in your earth houses. And so this is a really good week for Geminis for career, for making money, for figuring things out when it comes to your day-to-day work schedule, where things can flow a lot more easily for you in your work. And so your day-to-day work life can feel like it's just coming together really easily. You are experiencing a lot more harmony, a lot more grace, a lot more ease in that respect. And the work that you're doing is going to help to bring in finances for you a lot more easily. You might come up with new ideas or new financial plans that can help you and enhance your finances moving forward. And so all of this is a great use of this energy. Anything that you want to look at or initiate or make plans with in terms of your career, your day-to-day work life, your health, your finances, now is the time when you have the green light to do it. And especially with this really beautiful solstice coming, the solstice is going to be happening in your 2nd house of finance. And so for the next month, finances will be highlighted for you in a positive way where you can bring in more resources should you engage with that energy, right? For Cancer and for Cancer rising, this is happening in the water sign, so this is all about Cancer, right? And happy birthday again to the Cancers, especially if you're at the first couple degrees in Cancer. You're going to be having your solar return this week, and this is actually a great week to have a solar return because your sun is going to be in a nice sextile with Uranus, indicating really positive changes coming for you this year. You're going to have this beautiful grand water trine connecting in your chart. And so this is going to be a really good year for any Cancers that are having their birthdays this week, I would say. Up until, I would say, midweek, maybe Friday. Even over the weekend, though, I wouldn't be too worried about that Mercury opposition to Pluto. That's actually quite nice as well for the most part, just because of the way Mercury is being aspected in this grand trine. So this is going to be a good year for Cancer and Cancer risings. I could get more specific if I would have to have everybody's solar return chart for that. But in general, good year for anyone born this week. But for those, for anyone who has their rising sign or sun sign in Cancer, this week is going to be about your ideas, your ambitions, the things that you love to do, creativity, doing the hobbies, the interests, the things that you love, connecting with the things that keep you fired up and passionate about life, sharing your heart with the world. This is also going to be about planning adventure. Maybe you're planning a retreat or some sort of long distance travel where it sort of gets you away from the world. Maybe there's a spiritual reason for it. Maybe it's a spiritual retreat or something of that nature. Or maybe you're planning something with higher education. All of these things you have the green light to do this week. And if you are already in some sort of higher educational pursuit, this is a week where things can flow together quite easily for you, or you might have to kind of go back and look at something, rearrange it. But if you pay attention to the signs, if you rearrange it on an energetic level, then it'll follow suit, in the physical level. But yeah, this is all about Cancer. So whatever you want to initiate this week in your own self-interest because you want to do it because you feel passionate about it, this is, a really great week for that for Cancer and Cancer rising. There could be some opposition from it could be from like a romantic partnership or something along those lines that you might want to kind of just look out for. There could be power struggles in relationships if that attempt to prevent you from acting on your own self-interest. But if you merge your energy with theirs, if you explain to them what you're doing, not that you need to ask for permission, but just inform, I think that things could go a lot more smoothly. For Leo and for Leo rising, there is a grand trine forming in all of your water houses. And so for you, this is a time when it's not necessarily about being out in the open, it's about doing the inner work, right? But the inner work can come much more easily for you this week. You might feel much better, much more uplifted, much lighter on an emotional, intuitive, internal level this week. Your creativity will be enhanced. This is really good for creative writing of all kinds, for journaling. This is really good for connecting with family members. This is really good for looking at things like joint finances, debt, other people's money, things that you might normally feel a little bit fearful to look at. These types of things will come to you a lot more easily if you don't overthink it, right? So if you have something in that realm that you need to work on, it's not that you should think and plan and plot and do all of that kind of stuff. It's if you just allow it to happen, you'll come to a resolution point. You'll realize what you need to do moving forward, and it'll just kind of come to you through an impression, through a vision, through a sensation, through something other than your brain. Because right, this week is about following your intuition. It's about following your gut. It's about listening to your emotions and paying attention to what feels good and what doesn't feel good and following that. For Virgo and for Virgo rising, you have a lot of energy happening in your communication houses. So this is a really great week for Virgos to connect with people, right? Connect with your community, connect with your siblings, connect with your extended family members, connect with your loved ones, right? Connect with your lovers, connect with your marriage partners. This is a really good week for romance. When you have this sort of Piscean energy on your 7th house cusp, and especially Neptune moving through Pisces, you can have the rose-colored glasses when it comes to your relationships, and it's been enhanced the past few years with Neptune being there. But this is a week when you might actually be able to see people a lot more clearly because you will have Mercury as part of that grand trine, bringing in that more discerning, more analytical energy where you're still feeling things out, but you're also able to analyze those feelings, analyze those impressions. And this is a really great week to network for work or for just relationships, whatever it is that you want to do in terms of connecting with groups of people, right? Connecting with your friends. So this is a great week for communication, creative communication, writing, marketing, those types of things can be enhanced as well. And for Libra and for Libra rising, this is all happening in your earth houses. And so this is another sign where this is a really great week for you, for your job, for your career, your public reputation, for your day-to-day work schedule, your day-to-day work life. Money can flow in quite easily for you this week if you really visualize and really picture what it is that you're trying to create. And it'll be a lot easier to manifest it if you just visualize and sort of allow it this week, as opposed to just trying to force everything. Your mind is going to be very preoccupied with your work and with your career and your public reputation and what it is that you're doing out in the world right now. But that's actually a good thing. The plans that you're making right now are going to help to funnel in resources into your second house, which has been happening all year long. But this is a time period when that's going to be enhanced by the decisions that you're making in your career. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this is all about you. So with Jupiter in your first house, anything that you want to create, initiate, move forward with, anything you want to let go of too, because we are talking about the solstice. This is a time of reflection and celebration. And Scorpios with Jupiter in your sign, you probably have a good amount to celebrate. There's also the grand trine happening in your 5th and in your 9th. This is a great time for travel, for planning travel, for planning higher education, for planning to do something that you love to do, for doing things just because it's fun for you, because you're passionate about it, because you love to do it. And so this is a great week to connect your intentions and your self-interest with whatever it is that you love to do out in the world, with your passions, your hobbies, your play, your form of play. And that could have something to do with travel or with I'm a Scorpio rising, and I'm like out in the wilderness right now, all over the place. So whatever it is that you love, that keeps your heart happy, that keeps you from getting bogged down by the daily grind, that's what is favorable for Scorpio and Scorpio rising this week. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, I'm looking at my husband in the hammock. He's a double Sag. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this is an excellent week for connecting with people. Actually, wait, sorry. This is an excellent week for internal work. So you're going through an internal process right now of change, transformation. Mercury's in your 8th house, right? When Mercury's in the 8th house, we're thinking about or maybe you're unconsciously thinking about it. Maybe it's subconscious. Maybe you're not pulling it out into the surface, but your mind is in a place that's a little bit more fearful. It's a little bit more intense. You're focusing on the things that sort of help to take your power away from you. So it's looking at where you're giving your power away and how you can take it back, and you can take it back much more easily this week. This is not a time to be guided by your mind. And I'm looking at my husband again because he's been overthinking everything this week, but coming into the following week, right? Because I'm recording this a week prior. This is not a time to be guided by your mind. This is a time to be guided by your intuition, to just go with the flow, to allow things to happen, to allow things to be, because this is all about your emotions, what's going on the inside. This is about building up your internal world. This is about connecting to your intuition when we have Jupiter in the 12th house, paying attention to those psychic impressions, paying attention to dreams, signs, synchronicities. Anything that's going on in your reality is a reflection of what's going on internally. And so you need to pay close attention to the signs that you're getting and to follow that energy. This is a great time to connect with family, with your roots, with your ancestors, to have some sort of family gathering or something like that, or to deal with any sort of power struggles involving the family unit, any deep-seated traumas, fears, insecurities that you've been holding on to. Now is the time when you can release all of these things so much more easily, so long as you just kick back and allow it to be. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this energy is going to be in your communication houses. So this is a great week to connect with people. This is a great week to have a really good, maybe tough conversation in a partnership. So that could be a marriage partnership or any close one-on-one relationship, a business partnership, whatever it is. There could be something that you've been needing to say to somebody, and this is the week to do it, because not only can you be very blunt, very truthful, very straight to the point, you can also be very tactful in delivering this information, and I think it'll be much more well received with the Grand Trine supporting it as well. And so this is the time to have those tough conversations, because they're going to not be quite so tough, right? If you do it in the right context, if you do it in the right way. This is really great for enhancing your creativity and communication, for connecting your intuition to what it is that you're trying to communicate out in the world, so communicating more intuitively with other people. This is great for meeting new friends. So if you are a Capricorn rising, go out, meet people, join that group, take that salsa dancing class lesson or whatever it is that you want to do that involves groups of people, because you're going to meet the best people this week. For Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this is another one where this is happening in your earth houses. And so this Grand Trine is bringing good fortune to your career, your public reputation. Your mind is going to be very busy for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, because this is happening in your 6th house with Mercury, and the sun is transiting into your 6th house. So you're going to have a lot of ideas. Your brain is going to be on overdrive, thinking about all the busy things that you need to do, all of your responsibilities. You're going to be sort of working a little bit overtime there. But any plans that you make, any changes you make to your daily routines, to your daily habits with work, or even your daily health habits, can enhance your ability to manifest and create resources for yourself, to bring money in, and to really elevate your career. Because right now you have Jupiter in your 10th house, which is expanding on your career, your public reputation. It's expanding on what it is that you're doing out in the world, the big picture of your career. And so making those little changes to your day-to-day routines and schedules, those are really going to enhance your ability to be satisfied with your career, to get that promotion, right? To get that new position, to do that thing that you've been wanting to do with your work. And this is the week when you can really move into that a lot more easily. And finally, for Pisces, Pisces rising, this is all happening in the water houses. So this is all about you. This is for you guys. You're having Neptune stationing. When it stations to go retrograde and when it stations to go direct, these can be very important points in time for Pisces and Pisces rising, when very big changes can occur. So just pay attention to what's going on, especially at the beginning of this week, or end of last week, beginning of this week. So this weekend, as this is being posted, that'll be relevant as well. You're going to have some really awesome energy happening for your 5th house. So you're thinking a lot about what you love, right? You might be thinking about children, you might be thinking about play, you might be thinking about your hobbies, the interest, things that you love to do. You might be thinking about a new romance. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that's on your mind, you have the green light to go for it this week. You have Jupiter in your 9th house, so you might be planning travel. This is an excellent time to go back, like for some higher education, to connect with some sort of spiritual teacher that you've been wanting to connect with, to learn that new skill, especially if it's something that you're really passionate about and that you really love to do and that you feel for. If you have children, this is a week when your relationship with your children can be enhanced, and so you can have really good communication, good play with your children. If you do have children, this is a good week for you to get out and play with them, right? Get out and enjoy your time with them, because the rewards are going to go beyond just that day, right? And just that one experience. This could be where you make memories that last a lifetime, and so that's really important. And so for Pisces, this is overall a good week. The beginning of the week might feel a little strange, but whatever's happening is one of those fated moments, right? It's where this sort of, it's this point in time where things are sort of changing, reversing. There's something that needs to change, and it's going to be readily apparent. You'll be able to see, because the signs of synchronicities will be there. And it'll feel like at the beginning of the week for Pisces in particular that everything is like at a standstill. And that sensation will start to fall away as we move into, later on in the week. And so that's Pisces. And so that was all 12 signs, you guys. So thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, click on the button below. And I will be back next week in some other random location somewhere in the United States. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful week. Bye.